So I'm going to show you how to form the hat. So the hat comes flat packed, it's just how they were sort of laser cut. And I've put a steel bar in the vise, but it could be a piece of dowel, it doesn't have to be metal, it could be anything that you can sort of bend comfortably around. And all I'm actually doing is by hand keeping one end in the center of the flat piece and then sort of radiating it round and sort of curling it round. So I'm actually forming a cone. So I'll just work my way all the way around there. As you get nearer to the edge, it's a little bit more difficult to actually get that curve on the edge. So I can sort of force it to some extent by hand, but it's a little bit sort of flat just on the ends. So I'm just going to put that over and just tease the last bit into more of a curve to suit the hat. I can't just quite do that bit with my sort of finger strength. You just get a little bit of overlap and then holes should line up. That's where I'm going to actually sew it together. Just a very pointed. That's quite a good sort of match now. So there's 4 holes. And there's 2 that are set further back than the others, and that's just to allow a little bit of overlap so the 2 surfaces don't butt together but overlap just by a couple of millimeters. And all I'm going to do is put sort of a 1 cross stitch in. So I'll come out of the bottom hole and then go into the next top hole and then cross it over. So you're forming a cross on the outside, and it's just the easiest way to do it. There's no soldering or anything, and it looks like the sort of fairies stitched our own hat together. So just cross those 2 wires over and get the pliers in and twist them together. Sort of pull hard as you can without sort of snapping or damaging the hat, and just pull them together, and that'll pull that sort of cross nice and sort of flat on the surface. If you can't quite get in with those pliers, just get another pair of pliers and just snip the ends off and then tuck the end in. Doesn't have to be too neat because that's just going to be up against the sort of fairy's head, so you're never going to see it. So that's the first stage. So what I'm going to do now is add wires to the top. So there's a ring of holes around the top. I think there's 12 holes, so you want sort of 6 wires. So get all of your wires ready. And then you start sort of poking them through from one side to the other, get them to the halfway point, and then sort of pull them up together. You don't have to go through the opposite holes, it doesn't actually matter as long as it comes out of a hole somewhere. So just speed that up while I sort of feed the rest of them through. Gets a little bit tricky when you run out of holes. So pull all them together nice and tight, sort of pull them against the hat. And then I'm going to put all of the ends in the vise and sort of crush them all together so I know I'm sort of gripping them all. Then lift the hat so you've got some tension on the wire while twisting. Now when you're twisting wires in a bunch, you go through sort of 2 stages of twist. The first twist pulls them all together, and then you get a secondary twist where the whole bundle starts to curl. So I want it to look like it's sort of a flower on a bit of a vine type thing. So you go for that secondary curl and get the whole thing to sort of twist up. And I'm just going to snip the ends off. These are bigger pliers. You could do it with a little junior hacksaw if you haven't got any pliers like that. And I'm just sort of dressing the sort of sharp edges off so they don't sort of catch your fingers. Just tidy that up so it's sort of reasonably soft to the touch. It's not going to scratch me. And what I'm doing now is you've got to sort of find a surface that's sort of just got a gentle sort of curve on it. I don't quite know what you might have at home. You don't want a sharp edge. It wants to be a sort of gentle curve down. I mean, I've got the luxury of having a table which is a block of wood where I've got all sorts of shapes on it to form in metal, but you sort of need to sort of find something that you can just gently sort of tease the edge, the petals of the hat out in a nice sort of curve. Perhaps just a soft piece of wood or something that you might have at home. Until you get it into the sort of rough shape that you want. I'm now going to fasten it to the head, but the first thing I'm going to do is add some hair.
So when you're making a fairy that's got a hat, it doesn't need anywhere near as much hair because we're not doing a hairstyle. All we're doing is really enhancing the sort of shape of the hat. So I've put some hair on and it's all just sort of facing down. And if I give that a good sort of tap around, I'm just making sure that when I put the hat on, it fits sort of nicely, because the hat's got to go right up to the back of the head. So you can sort of see that the hair's just coming out from the base of the hat. So I've got a piece of wire. It's about 2 foot. It's just 0.5 mil. It's very thin. It's just enough to hold the hat on. I'm just going to put like a hook on the end. And then all the wires that sort of came through where we put the top of the hat on, just make sure that's going to be the back. So I want to go sort of sideways across there. Just hook that. It's difficult to show on the camera. Hook that round. Pull that other end through. So I've just got one wire that sort of is attached to that. So what I'm going to do now is place the hat on the head. It's going to go there. Now I want this wire that's going to be attaching the hat to sort of just come out under the chin like a chin strap. Trying to get it sort of through part of the head as well, just gives me a bit more security to. So that's one. The other one is going to go through this side, very similar. But don't overthink it. All I'm actually doing is strapping the hat to the head. But what I'm going to do, so I've got the seam down the back, so that's where and then I've just got these 2 wires that have come through that, and I'm going to pull them under her chin. Keep them tight, put a twist in them, and keep sort of tightening and twisting. Now I'll get my pliers on, now I've got a hold of it, and pull basically as hard as I can without snapping the wire, and twist it up. Keep giving it a wriggle. Make sure that hat goes as far up to the back as possible, and then tighten it again, because all them wires have got to be sort of shaped to sort of fit the hat. There we go. So I'll cut that excess off now. Tuck that end in. And now I can just sort of shape the hair round the hat as if it's sort of blowing backwards.